Vinery stud in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales is one of Australia's most historic stud properties. It even has buildings with windows designed to defend against bushrangers and some fantastic champion producing pastures. In these fields are not only star stallions, beautiful broodmares and some fantastic new foals, but also some past stars of the turf. This is Cuban Sunday, and he has just a fantastic attitude to be with the weanlings. He was a stakes winner, he won a Heatherly handicap. But tell me a little bit about his life, because he just seems suited for the role.
Yeah, he's been a great horse for us. We bought his mother in Japan and brought her back, and we sent her to Benicio when we stood him, and he was a lovely horse, and we raced him. He was very consistent and won a listed race, so he did a good job. And you know, Benicio didn't set the world on fire, but he was one of his better ones. But just a horse with lovely temperament and a keen racehorse, and he had a good life, and he's doing a wonderful job. He's passing it on with the babies. He's so calm and just a lovely, safe horse to have around young horses.
And a bit of a favourite of yours as well. I mean, he comes up, he loves the affection, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, he loves the contact, and I mean, these horses just get so handled so much, and they're so kind, and you know, they respond so well and pass it on to the young horses too, and we just want them to be safe, and having horses like this, just the value of having a horse like him, and so well looked after, and looking after the young horses so well, is good.
Foreteller's going to make it interesting.
And we also saw Foretelle too. Now he's a real favourite because he's won over $2 million, been a real, he's a bit of a cult favourite really in the Chris Waller stable, with some great owners involved in him. But he just looks, again, in the picture of health and loving the job.
Well, horses could race to hit the calibre of him. They're special animals in themselves, and he looks well, and he's happy and great health, and he's got a lovely temperament, and he's good to have around other stock, and he's good with mares and good with young horses. So great to see him continue to be a star that he always was.
Does it matter with some of the paddocks? We also saw Proliferate out as well, looking after a bunch of babies. Does it matter, what sort of feed? They're just eating what the weanlings are getting. So I guess it takes a certain sort of a horse that's not going to get too big and heavy, and as they get older. How do you manage the feeding?
Well, the feeding's okay, because these are just normal athletes in themselves, and the feed we're giving the weanlings is a maintenance feed as well. So if they're with a group that you're trying to put more weight on, well, these guys would probably do a little bit better. But we find geldings are much better. They maintain a more natural body strength, where mares tend to get a little bit too heavy.
And seeing the V brand, I mean, we see it on a lot of these weanlings. You also have clients' foals in here as well. But on Proliferate, to see the V brand, it must be great to see them have the whole of life here at Vine. Go off, do the racing, and then come back.
Well, we spend a lot of time with these horses, and we always have for a lot of years now, that we do so well with them, and we'll always stay with them, and we'll always look after them and give them a home, and make sure they get a good home.
Press Statement is clear. The favourite goes virtually all. Press Statement wins it brilliantly.
We also saw a wonderful old mare, Khaaptive Empress, of course, the mother of two Group 1 winners, Press Statement and Press Day. And it's just fantastic to see, it's not just the geldings that find a job as a nanny, also these old mares.
Yeah, I think, to have a mare like that that's produced so well, and to be connected with one of our stallions is fantastic. So, yeah, they get their horses and get the best of care, and it's certainly a pleasure to have a mare of that calibre around as well. So she's doing a fantastic job, and she'll continue to get the best of conditions for her to live out her time.
And the stallions, a lot of people wonder what happens. There are so many stallions that retire. They do get well looked after later in life on so many farms. I mean, we saw Testarossa, dear old boy was just dozing away there just at the end of the shade, and had a lovely roll and a lie down, and then he's still got a bit of nip in him too. He's still a stallion, and also gorgeous old Mossman. I mean, these two boys have done their time as stallions and as racehorses before that. But it's so good, they still get brushed every day, they still get all the attention they've had all their lives.
Yeah, probably two high-level retirees on the farm, and it's quite significant. The horses that you spend so much time with, and big part of the business, big part of the people here. there's no way I'd be able to get them out of the barn. The staff will look after those two boys and treat them on a daily basis as well as any leading stallion. So, and that's the calibre of the care that you want to happen, and that's the loyalty that they hold to the horses. And these horses have done a fantastic job, and stallions especially need pretty special care in their latter years too. So they'll get that, and they'll live out their time in the best of conditions.
Because they don't know they're older, they're not covering mares, of course, but they don't realise, you know, but they still have those dominant traits, don't they? So you need them to be managed the right way.
They do, and they still think they're, you know, hard-working stallions, but unfortunately they're consultants at the moment. But they still, you know, still are stallions and still behave as stallions and need to be looked after like that too. So sensitive to all that, and I think that they are very relaxed and in an environment they're so used to too. And sometimes an old horse, you know, when they're retired, they get ripped out of these environments, and it can be fairly traumatic for them. So, but you'll see all the farms here look after their old stallions, right? You know, to the best of care.
And this isn't a new thing, having these nannies and having these you know, the older mares and the older geldings being taken care of on studs right around Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see the staff on these farms for many years, and you see the way we go about the horses. I mean, the people that work with these horses here just dearly love their animals and continue to work with them and get so much back from the horse. You know, we're not just doing for the horses giving back plenty as it is. So the level of care that go on a daily basis is underestimated sometimes, and these horses will always be looked after and always found to good homes, or, you know, become part of this home.
You know, tries to knock you out.
A little bit affectionate sometimes, but no, that, you know, the level that with this in this industry, I'm really, you know, the level that the thoroughbreds get cared for, it sometimes comes under criticism. But, you know, we've been doing this for years, and the level of care that these horses get is second to none.
Always great hearing from the wonderful horsemen and women of Australia about caring for retired thoroughbreds. Coming up on Thoroughbreds Argo, Arrowfield Studs Strappers Stories.